Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mo's Two Cents. Here with another episode. I wanted to see how everybody's been. It's now October 1st today and 2021, and it's starting to get cold where I'm at. I'm in the northeast part of the region. It's very, very cold in the morning now. It's funny, 2 weeks ago I was complaining about humidity, and today I have on a light jacket. Can't win, huh? We want so many things. We're never satisfied. I Speaking of that, what I just said, never satisfied. I was thinking, and I was thinking about some things, and this morning, last night into this morning, I was thinking about my life, and just thinking about never satisfied. You know, I've been really trying to reconnect and get myself together spiritually because, we tend to we're humans first of all. We're humans that have sin. No human has no sin, and every day we have to repent and try to do better than the day before, even if we don't do anything. Could overindulge in some food, which is still considered a sin because that's gluttony. So we still have to, we continuously live in a day of repentance. I know I do. But, I was listening to Latoya Okia last night, and made me in it. I woke up with this still on my mind. She had mentioned one of her or um, in her live video on YouTube, um, that we tend to pray and ask God for things, and you know we tend to keep asking it, or we tend to have something that may not be, like, for instance, let's just say this: when we're dating, and this made me think about dating. When dating someone, especially, growing up, I wasn't really taught necessarily, exactly who to look for. It's more so, don't do this, don't do that. But there was no representation of, the right type of guys to date. It was more so like, oh, get you a nice husband that will, X, Y, and Z. But, there weren't, the people that I were around weren't examples of that. So, it made me think about when she was saying, she had mentioned that, you could have somebody that may not have like the most outstanding job, or he's a good guy. And, I've been victim of that. I've met, when I was much younger and stupid and immature, I met guys that had just regular jobs, but they were, their intellect, as well as, just the way they treated me, was on point. But at that time, because I was ignorant, I say, oh, that's corny. I need me more of a, I was really into, street dudes. And I still to this day, I think about, I'm like, I know why now. Regardless of what people may think, what we listen to and what we intake, as far as like what we see growing up. I was born in the 80s. I'm an 80s, 90s baby. And the influence of music and entertainment that we had then was, I went from the hip hop era where everything was baggy to um no scrubs and can you pay my bills and say my name. You know what I'm saying, as far as music goes. So I really feel that, for me personally, I think that era of time, we watched the household in the 80s. When, if your mom and dad were together, excuse me, whew, we had families that were together. And then, of course, there were some single parent homes, but I just think like the family, and I'm going to talk about the Black experience. I think the family Black experience was a little bit better. And if you didn't grow up with having your mom or dad there. Somebody else stood in the gap to help out with family. We had more of a tribe back then, let's just say, compared to how things are now. I don't feel that it's the same as far as the family dynamic. I think that that's been kind of lost in this 21st century. Um, that's just me personal. That's just my personal opinion. But going back to that, we have unrealistic expectations sometimes. We can be, oh, he got to have this, he got to have that, he got to have this, and he got to have that. But as we write our list out, can we match those things? Never satisfied. That's why I keep saying never satisfied. Can we match those things? I think because a lot of times too, in my culture, being a black woman, we grab, if you grew up with your parents working, doing the best that they could do, I was blessed. No shade to anybody. I was blessed to have two working parents. I did grow up I did grow up. I grew up with other things going on. You know what I'm saying, with my parents. But when it came to work and keeping a roof over my head, I was blessed. I was definitely blessed. Excuse me. And I love my mom and my dad to pieces to this day. But, I because of the black experience, I see, things that happen with them too, never satisfied on both ends, when they could have, the expectation of what we call success or getting to a certain place, it can destroy, excuse me, the black family to a point. Because where are expectations coming from, and who are we modeling them after? Are we modeling them after another culture that doesn't share the same economic struggles or day-to-day realities of life? Never satisfied. We watch all this TV. We're so involved in social media that some of us, think about it, you don't your next hairstyle or your next outfit is dependent on an influencer or somebody that's feeding your subconscious mind, feeding your mind an idea or a trend. And it's like, that's part of, all these things are part of the reason why we're never satisfied. I referring back to, I don't get, I don't get any props or anything from Latoya Okia, but I appreciate finding her ministry, because we've taken her healing class, one of her courses. Because I'm such a workaholic and a mom, some of these things that she was asking, I'm like, whoa, to stop and think about it. I'm like, never had anybody ask me that. I never thought of that for myself. I never questioned this. I never, you know what I mean? So, never satisfied. We have to change that, because for me, I'm in love with seeing our people, and just people in love, period. Especially if you're a part of the kingdom, having love, God's love, um, you know, working through problems, being able to unite and people come together and actually do the thing and get married and it work. We have to look at things and say, all right, I want these things, but what do I have to bring to the table? Excuse me. If you still living with your mama and you got a $300 to $500, I don't do these things that could cost more. 'Cause I know hair these days is that's an industry in itself. But if you broke because you got to have your install done and or have this, you addicted to popping tags and you just want a man that's going to have you look like a princess and you don't put any effort or do anything for, to not to say to receive, because you know what I mean. I feel like we as women have to stop this. Oh, he got a this and he got a that. When some of y'all don't even change your underwear a few times a day or shower. I'm serious. You can be super cute. You can take angles and take pictures on Instagram, move to the side, and make yourself. You can be anybody who you want to be. You have what did somebody say, that's your representative and not really you? Never satisfied. I really, I always, my friends and I, we talk about things and I say, I, when it comes to anybody, relationship, man or woman, I always say this: write a list, pros and cons. Then with the pros and cons, you write a list about yourself and what you bring to the table, and then write your pros and cons. Because we have to stop dogging these men out. We have to stop, you know, um, if you meet a dude that he's telling you his finances, he's working, and this is not to knock anybody, this is just an example. He's working at Dollar Tree, right? Good man, who knows, he might have had a rough patch just getting back into the workforce. Now, he asked you for your number, he took you out, blah, blah, blah. You guys hang out. Everything is clicking, but he works at Dollar Tree. Don't you know, if with the right man and woman, because it could be reversed, the woman could work at Dollar Tree. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you can come together and build something, if that other person, whether it be the man or the woman that doesn't work at Dollar Tree, the other person that's dating that person has an idea or can pour into that person, then you can get that person, if they want to, they can start their own stuff. There's nothing like a man that's backed by a good woman, and there's nothing like a good woman being backed by a good man. You know, I just think we've become so selfish. And it's about me, talking about myself. Because, like I said, I was listening to that podcast, and she had mentioned, the spirit of nothing being good enough. And I remember in my early 20s, I was dating someone, and I had a coworker, older lady, say to me, "Man, you're hard on that man. It seems like nothing would be good enough for you." And I kind of got offended when she said that. Now, mind you, I was 21. It was like about 20 years ago. But I was like, what is she talking about? No, he's supposed to do this. He's supposed to do that. No, he's not supposed to do anything. Ladies, stop putting all this pressure on these guys. And our houses are not fully in order. Stop putting, men, stop putting this pressure on these women, and you rolling over to smoke a blunt and play a video game. We need to get it together. Or not even that, because this could be any race. You know what I'm saying? You're just not putting in that effort, but you want to nitpick and manipulate and talk about your partner. My thing is this: why make their life miserable? Just don't be together. You know what I'm saying? But we have to, we got to change this way, because our kids are watching us. You know what I'm saying? I've been single. I've been single since my daughter was about, I'll say, 9 years old. She's 13 now. Have I gone out on dates and stuff like that? Yes, I have. But once, I said, all right, I'm going to open my mind to possibly dating, I noticed that, some of the same type of people that I was trying to run away from were attracted to me. So I said, you know what, Lord, I need to continue to do some more work, because obviously I'm not trying to go backwards. I'm trying to go forward. And, I want to be able to, change the narrative. And plus, now that I have a daughter, and if I feel safe once, I get to know the person and really get to know them, not just bring them to my house and all this other stuff. That's another thing. Stop, and not to refer to other folks, but I listen to a lot of different people, and certain things resonate. We have to stop being so quick to jump and try to transform into somebody that we're not, for a man or for a woman, especially when we have children. Our children are watching everything that we do. If you on TikTok twerking and you have a daughter and she's younger and she continues to see that, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Everything is not social media approved. Everything is not for likes. When you get into a relationship, that's real life. That's your life. That's your time and energy that you're putting into it, not anybody else's. So stop being, let's move forward for the rest of the year. Let's take the time to work on self before we worry about wanting to be with somebody. Trust me, I've been single for a while. My heart's desire one day is to meet a guy that I have this whole thing too. I'm not here to hook up. That's another thing. Keep your body to yourself. If you want to know if this man really wants to get to know you, don't go lay down with him and to show him or put your, and I'm gonna keep it real, or put your mouth on him or her. I'm just saying, whatever way that is not of God, that we're not supposed to be doing that lustful Jezebel spirit. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because you'll be trust me, you'll be regretting it later. And a lot of time, we don't communicate. We just want to get that itch scratched. Then you go get the itch scratched, and one, the dude could be crazy or the chick could be crazy. Two, the person could have a disease, and you just had to get that moment off, them couple minutes or whatever. And then if the person's not your man or your woman, you guys are going your separate ways, and he's going home and she's going home. And how does that make you feel? I'm not speaking on these things from current experience. I just have been through a lot of different things in the past, just trying to navigate and figure out my way willy-nilly, like most of us have. That's why I created this channel, because I know I'm not the only person. And some of these conversations we want to have, like I said, I grew up around my grandmother was like, it's more so, don't do this. They don't explain why. So I had to learn a lot of things on my own, and I'm glad I did, because I feel like God gave me that, those situations so that, I look at where I'm at now. I'll be able to talk to somebody else about it. It's important that we share what we've been through and what we like. Why keep it to yourself? No, you don't want people in your business. And, I agree with that. I'm very private. I'm a very, very private person. But I know that I have some life experiences that I've been through that I could help somebody else with. So why not talk about those things? But I really would like for you to do this. Let's do a quick exercise, and the next time I come back on the podcast, we can talk about it. I would like for you, men and women, get yourself a notebook or a piece of paper. We're gonna do a chart, not a chart. I want you to write. If you're seeing somebody, you're interested in somebody, put their name, pros and cons. Then I want you to write your own pros and cons for yourself, right? And then lastly, I want you to write out of those pros and cons that you're asking for that other person, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? My apologies. Call interrupted my taping of this podcast. But yes, Make a list about yourself, what you bring to your relationship, pros and cons, the good things you bring, the cons would be the bad things you bring, and then your partner, same thing, the good things they bring and the bad things they bring. And look, I always say is if the bad outweighs the good, or if the good outweighs the bad, then there you go with your decision of whether you should stay into something. Sometimes we're unevenly yoked and put together with people that we have no business being with in the first place. So I say you take that time out and write down those things and really ponder on it. And then as we go into a new season, which is the 2022, we look to correct some of the things that we know um, we don't bring to our relationship or don't bring to the table. Never satisfied. We can't be never satisfied. There has to be some compromise, or you have to make changes to your life in order for it to get better. I thank you for tuning into my podcast. Thank you for listening to Mo's Two Cents. Hit like or subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Hello to my Anchor followers, and until the next episode, y'all be safe. Take care.